Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger, and today we're gonna be talking about OTAs and Jair Alexander. Man, I wanted to be with you guys earlier today, but I'm working on a personal project, man. It's probably the biggest thing I've done in my life. So that took um that took some time and it took priority. What's going on, Raven 76, man? Yes, let's go. Let's get into talking about the Baltimore Ravens. And so, man, some exciting things happening around Baltimore Ravens land as always, man. Like I said yesterday, this has been one of the most confidence building off seasons for a Baltimore Ravens fan that I can remember in a couple of seasons. And so, man, let's get into the conversation about OTAs. Man, we'll be here between 30 and 40 minutes. So let's see if we can get something done. So, first up, man, OTAs, first day of this, I think it's the third week now, where the Baltimore Ravens have been on the field practicing. And of course, some of your more notable names were not present, led off by Lamar Jackson, but that's fine. It is voluntary. I think mandatory mini camp will be happening in a couple of weeks where everybody who is anybody will be there. But some news and notes, man, from OTAs, man. First off, you keep hearing about this wide receiver room and the guys who are making plays in that department. And let's lead off with Rashad Bateman making plays, showing his skill, showing his route running, showing his hands, showing his ability, man, just to make plays. And man, one of the things, man, that's super exciting about Rashad Bateman, and it's something I've mentioned many times. It is a big difference between an off season where you have to rehab and an off season where you can just train. There is many seasons, man, where we could criticize Rashad Bateman for not being present when you see Lamar Jackson and some of the other wide receivers throwing. There's many times, man, where we could criticize Rashad Bateman for not being what seemed to be ready to go. But this offseason in particular, not because he got a new contract, but I think it's simply because it is one of the first seasons where he has walked into the season or off season rather 100% healthy, which then allows him to get on the field and show what he can do. I do expect an elevation in role, an elevation in production, an elevation in leadership from Rashad Bateman this year. I think we will absolutely see why the Baltimore Ravens took a chance on him all the way back in the first round of 2021 and made him their pick. And so, man, super excited to hear what Rashad Bateman has going on this offseason. So, shout out to Rashad Bateman. Another wide receiver showing some things at OTAs is LaJohntay Wester. This is the second or third report I've read on him where he's just making plays. And I definitely think this kid is not only going to make a big impact in our return game, both punt and kick return. I think that you're going to see him sneak onto the field and earn himself some snaps in the regular flow of the offense, whether he gets some wide receiver screens, whether he gets some short stuff over the middle, or whether he gets a ball out of the backfield as if he was a running back, an end around, something like that. I think we could see him get on the field. His talent demands some playing time. And I know I'm speaking kind of forward about LaJohntay Wester, but when you watch his film, his wiggle, his speed, and his acceleration, it's just a skill set that seems to demand that he needs to be on the field. So, man, shout out to LaJohntay Wester, man, for proving the Ravens to be right thus far, taking a chance on him late in the sixth round. I do not think his pick will be a throwaway at all. Another guy making some plays comes from the tight end room, and that is Isaiah Likely. And Isaiah Likely, man, we know who he is. We know what he's about. And I want to say, man, he's a candidate to kind of have a breakout season, but I'm not so sure. I don't think that that devalues him because he doesn't have a breakout season, but I just think with the wide receiver corps being as solid as it is, I think with the tight end room being as packed as it is, with a Mark Andrews kind of right there beside him, I don't think he has what you call a breakout season. I think he has a good season. I think he'll have a season where he probably has 30, 40, 50 catches. I know that's a lot of range, probably 5 to 600 yards, probably 6 or 7 touchdowns, but I think that's going to be probably the max. It's just a lot of mouths need to be fed. And I think it's just going to be about who gets open. And with Zay, Bate, Hopkins leading the wide receiver room. Then you got Likely and also Mark Andrews. And then you got Derrick Henry and Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell in the backfield. I just think it's a lot of mouths to feed. And that does not even include Lamar Jackson runs. And so I don't think he has a huge season. But again, that does not devalue him because I believe that this tight end room will be less crowded next season, and he'll be able to be featured a lot more if the Baltimore Ravens get a deal done, which I believe that they will. So Malachi Starks made a comment about Isaiah Likely and said that he is the most difficult person he's covered or the most difficult player he's covered this offseason. So that's pretty good praise for a first round safety who has good athleticism and great range and coverage skills. More from the offense side of the ball, Keaton Mitchell made some plays. And man, the blessing for Keaton Mitchell and this Baltimore Ravens offense is not that he's going to get 20 carries a game or even 20 touches a game, 10 carries a game, or even 10 touches a game. But the blessing is that when he does touch the ball, and I foresee him being able to touch the ball at least 4 or 5 times every game, he has home run potential. He has the kind of potential, the kind of talent that could take it the distance anytime his hands touch the football. And so he's making some plays, making a little bit of noise in OTAs. So man, shout out to Keaton Mitchell, man, for recovering from that injury and also being able to put it all together to be a contributor this season. Raven 76, man, you are correct. We absolutely need to get Isaiah Likely resigned. I think that even above Lamar Jackson, he is the next on the list to get the extension. The reason why I say Likely over Lamar and Likely over Hamilton's locked in with that fifth year option for at least 1 year after this season. So we do have some time. And then Lamar Jackson, of course, is under contract for the next couple of seasons. So we also have some time. Would a Lamar Jackson restructure or an extension make some cap space? Yeah. But we have the money right now to get a deal done with Isaiah Likely. Besides that, Likely's deal could be a 4-year deal, which doesn't even really have an impact on this season's salary or salary cap. So I think that Isaiah Likely is up first because he is a free agent, and then probably Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson's contract creates space for a Kyle Hamilton deal to get done. True. The risk is that as time passes, more guys get new deals, which will drive the price up for Likely, Hamilton, and Lamar Jackson. But that price for those dudes are going to be high anyway. So I don't think it's going to drive it up that much more. I think Lamar Jackson is the next guy in the quarterback world around the NFL who's next due for an extension. Likely is probably next man up for a tight end extension, and Hamilton is the likely candidate for next man up as the best safety in the league. So all of these guys, I think, get done. But of course, that will be some casualties because of that. But that's okay. You can't keep everybody. More from OTAs. Let me think who else I heard about. I think that's about it that I heard about. I know there were some injuries. Awuzie has a little bit of an injury. Bo Braid left practice on yesterday with an injury, and seems like there was somebody else who went down with an injury or maybe sidelined. And so I'm glad that these injuries are happening early. Now, I'm not glad that anybody's being injured, but I'm glad that they're happening early versus late. And I'm glad that we have some depth in place already in house to kind of fill in. I think the Bo Braid injury will allow Jalen Armour Davis to get more run at the safety position to see what he's going to look like. I think he could be more of a natural there with that transition over to safety. I think that it gives Bo Braid time not to have to rush back. Although his job could be in jeopardy or his roster spot could be in jeopardy, but I think it does give Jalen Armour Davis an opportunity to get some run in that spot. Uh, so, man, let's get to the big conversation of today, right? You know, if you guys have been with me any length of time, you guys know I have been talking about former Green Bay cornerback Jair Alexander. I've been talking about him for about 4 months since the offseason began. I told you guys probably 2 weeks ago that coming into June, I believe it was, that the Green Bay Packers were going to have life after Alexander. Of course, they would want to trade him because that would offset some of what's going to be owed to him. They would get some compensation back. But I did tell you that they would part ways with him. And as of yesterday, it is official. The Green Bay Packers, who were holding out for a trade, did release Jair Alexander on Monday. Now, I know that I've seen a lot of commentary about the Baltimore Ravens picking up Jair Alexander. So what I'm gonna toss to you guys: should they? Should they not? How much should they pursue him? And is it just better left unpursued? Right. So first off, man, with the Jair Alexander news, just read an article as I got ready for this live that the Dallas Cowboys are identified and named as a landing spot for Alexander. I think the Cowboys are in a position where they're desperate, and I think they would write a bigger check than the Baltimore Ravens. But I think at this point in a career and a player the caliber of Alexander, I think he's going to be looking for a legit shot to win a chip. I think he's going to be looking for a legit shot to be a part of something for a couple of seasons that has the potential to restore his career and has the potential to add to his earning potential after this initial deal is done. If I was in Alexander's shoes, I'm not looking for a 1 year deal just because Green Bay owes me money. I would be looking for at least a 2 year deal so that I don't have to go through this same thing next year. Now, could he be looking for a 1 year deal so that he can re up and get a new contract brand new next year? Certainly. But if I'm trying to secure the bag and my future, I'm going to be looking for a 2 year deal. So, the question I got for you guys, man, is do the Ravens pursue him? Should they? And why should they? I think, yes, the Baltimore Ravens should absolutely pursue him. Of course, Lamar Jackson has already put out a sort of a, what you would call a cryptic tweet. I don't have that pulled up, but we understand that he is in support of his friend from Louisville to come and play for the Baltimore Ravens. I also am in support, and a lot of Ravens Nation is in support. I think that they should pursue him hard. I do. I think that they should offer him a 2 year deal, something like 2 years and 38 to $40 million. What, man? You have lost your mind. You need to have your name stripped of the GM. Well, I'm going to explain why I say 2 years and 38, 2 years, 40 million here in a second. Just give me a moment. The reason why I think the Baltimore Ravens should pursue Jair Alexander, although he has a long injury history, is simply because when the kid is on the field, he is elite. He has been proven to be one of the best corners in the league. His problem is not ability, but it's availability. And so I think that a change of scenery, I think that a change in culture, and I think that an opportunity to win will absolutely change life for Jair Alexander. I think he's fairly healthy as at this point in time. I think that if they brought him in, he wouldn't even have to really get on the field a whole lot until training camp. And I think with some of the depth that we have at cornerback, he could be in a rotational pitch count a part of the season. Yes, I know we got a Woozy already in house, but his deal is super cheap. I think that if we offered and brought in Jair Alexander, I think that it will offset some of that contract that Awuzie had. Or let me do it this way: Awuzie's contract will offset some of the money we pay to Jair Alexander. I think these dudes could rotate. I think that would help both these guys who have a long injury history stay healthy, and it would create a deep quality at the quarterback position. Um, I think Jair Alexander could be a great mentor on a young guy like a Nate Wiggins. He could also be a great mentor for the young corner like Bilal Coney and also Longer Bean. I think the initial impact of a Jair Alexander signing, of course, is the top end talent and depth that it creates, which we definitely need. That also allows Jalen Armour Davis flexibility to flex over to the safety position. It makes it even more palatable for the Baltimore Ravens, seeing that we would add another top end piece. Um, I think that in the AFC North, where we have a whole lot of top end talent at the wide receiver position, out in Pittsburgh, there's DK Metcalf. Over in Cleveland, you got Jerry Judy. And then Deontay Johnson, although he is a little sketch, he's still a quality receiver when he's right. And then, of course, you have those monsters over there in Cincinnati, both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So the more elite, incredible talent that we can have at the cornerback position, the better off the Baltimore Ravens will be. Now, Belanger, why would you give him 2 years and 38 million, 2 years, 40 million, somewhere in that range? Well, 7.5 million of that is incentive laden, right? There would be incentives on games played. There would be incentives on interceptions. There would be incentives on Pro Bowl and also All Pro. I think an incentive laden deal is kind of where Jair Alexander is at this point. Again, not because he's a bad corner, just because of his availability. And so a $7.5 million incentive laden deal kind of really makes it 2 years, $32.5 million. That's really what it makes, unless he hits those incentives. And if he hits those incentives, All Pro, Pro Bowl, interceptions, and things of that nature, that means he's having a good season, and that means he was worth the original 2 and 38 or 2 and 40 million. Now, I know that's a lot of money, but you don't want to offer a deal that devalues him, right? Think about it. He's a top end talent. You offer a disrespectful deal, then he shuts that door and moves on. In truth, the Baltimore Ravens have pursued Darius Slay a couple of different times with a very similar type contract. And so now you have an opportunity to get a guy. It does not cost you any draft capital, and it puts you amongst the elite with cornerback depth, right? And also, let's just be honest. Let's really look at the guys in the top 5 or 6 spots on our depth chart or on our roster, and then we'll include Jair Alexander in the conversation as well. At the top, you got Marlon Humphrey, slot corner. Can he play outside? Yes, but he's absolutely better at this point at slot. Nate Wiggins, first round draft pick from last year, showed very, very well. and got better as the year went on. One starting corner. And you have to suspect that Awuzie is the other starting corner after the departure of Brandon Stevens. Those are your top three. And then now you get into depth, which seems to kind of have a decline. You got TJ Tampa, we don't know anything about. Although he had a good day yesterday in practice, I forgot about him. So you got TJ Tampa, you got Jalen Armour Davis, and you have Bilal Coney, and you got Longerbeam, right? So you got 7 guys on the roster who are competing for those 6 or 7 spots. Jair Alexander would make 8, but that would automatically allow Armour Davis to move over to safety without any concern of depth being lost at the cornerback position. Let's go one step deeper. What's going on, sir? Hope you're doing well. Alu, hope you're doing well today. Now let's go deeper in this cornerback conversation. Now look at the names that I named at the top. Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Awuzie. Those are your starting 3 as of right now. Only one of them are going to guaranteed to be here next year. Think about that. Humphrey, Awuzie, and Nate Wiggins. Only one is under contract for next year. After EDC and Marlon Humphrey, we work the deal. He's basically a free agent next year. Awuzie is on a 1-year deal. So of your top 3, only Wiggins is going to remain at this point in time. Okay, jump to your depth pieces. Jalen Armour Davis, even if he moves to safety, this is his last year on a deal. Bilal Coney, Longerbeam just got drafted. They may not be ready to play on a full-time basis between this year and next season. And then you got TJ Tampa, who's a mystery. So when you really look at it, of the 7 guys who are competing for the spots, only 3 of them are scheduled to be back next season, and 2 of which are rookies right now. So adding a guy like Jair Alexander to this depth chart at cornerback sets us up well for next season to have at least 2 starting corners, Wiggins and the potential for Alexander. That's why I say offering him a 2-year deal makes more sense than just a 1-year one-off, only because then you get into a bidding war next season. Because if he has a good season, and I would expect him to with a change of scenery, now he's outpriced himself, and now your cornerback room looks very, very suspect. So when we really, really think about it, man, I think we absolutely should pursue Jair Alexander. I don't really want to get into a bidding war. So I would like to come in with a nice 2-year offer. I would even kick it up to 3 years if that's what gets him in-house. Listen, man, I know that we have some salary cap questions. I have an understanding that we have $18 million right now, so we're sitting good. I understand that a lot of dudes have to get paid. I understand that. And bringing in a guy and offering him money who is not your own, meaning he's not a Raven right now, is kind of difficult to bring Jair Alexander in. But this would be the kind of all-in move that typically gets made at a trade deadline, and we can make it right now. We can make this kind of move right now as an all-in move to get the Baltimore Ravens to where we're trying to get to, and that's a Super Bowl. Let me go one step further. When you think about including Jair Alexander to this roster, it can only elevate the other talent around him. The other talent that's going to learn from him can only elevate. He's never been a team distraction. He's mostly been a team guy from everything that I read and heard, and his talent is undeniable. So he can only make other dudes better, right? That's number one. Number two, even when we jump outside of the AFC North, there's other teams who have really good wide receiving talent, right? Some of the people we're going to face off against this season have really good wide receiving talent. Detroit, really good wide receiving talent across the board. The Rams, really good wide receiving talent across the board. When you look at Houston, they're going to get healthy. They're going to have really good wide receiving talent. When you look at, I'm trying to think about schedule just off the top of my head. Um, Kansas City, I don't know what they're going to have, but I know Rice is going to be healthy. At least we believe he's going to be healthy. He has a top end talent. So there's going to be a lot of great competition we're going to face off against. So having really nice talent, really elite talent at the cornerback position, hey, let's get it. Think about it. And then also, here's a benefit to having elite cornerback play. It helps out the front. Think about it. When you have cornerbacks who can hold up, who don't get beat immediately, cornerbacks can stay in position, whether it's by speed, coverage ability, or both. It allows those guys up front to get home, right? When the quarterback has nowhere to go to, right? When the quarterback can't get the ball out of his hands in 2 to 3 seconds, he has to hold that ball. That allows our pass rush to get there a lot quicker, or not even a lot quicker, but a lot more consistently. And so I think that his impact is going to be felt all over the team if we add him. So, Ravens fans, man, rally around the idea of going to get Jair Alexander. Don't worry about the money. It's not ours anyway. Think about it. Don't worry about the money. It's not ours. It's Bashadi's. All right. It doesn't cost us anything if we go get Alexander and add him to this team. It's the type of move that the Baltimore Ravens have been known for, right? Going to get a guy who a team has given up on, and he has a resurgence. Think about Jadeveon Clowney from a couple of seasons ago. A lot of the league had given up on him. He's never going to be the pass rusher he was supposed to be. He's never going to live up to that number one spot. And he hasn't. But when he came to Baltimore, he was solid against the run, and he had his best sack season in his whole career. I think Jair Alexander, added to a winning culture, could absolutely have a resurgent season, and it could be the key that helps the Ravens get to the promised land, and that's winning a chip, right? The money stuff can be figured out later. Our Super Bowl window is open, and we need to crawl through it, jump through it, slide through it, bust out the window, whatever needs to be done. That's what we need to do in Baltimore to get to the chip by all means necessary, man. So listen, that's what I got for you guys today, man. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Whether you check this out in the live or whether you check it out in the record, it doesn't matter, man. I appreciate you guys. Do me a quick favor, hit the like and subscribe. And we will be back on Thursday. I'll produce something for tomorrow, but it'll be only in record. And we will be back live on Thursday, man. So I appreciate you guys. I'm your guy, Boulanger. This has been the GM, and we're out.